Hey there! In the truck today, Bob Rodriguez, Constant Gardener. Welcome to the OCGFAM show to you, my YouTube buddies. What's going on? Let me know in the comments and we'll talk about it after the show. But right now, let's just get into the show. Indoor versus outdoor. Obviously, there's a great deal of differences. But in the clip I want to show you today, Scott and I talked a little bit about I guess you'd say the philosophy of the two and how they differ in your goals and how you approach that. And I thought it was an interesting clip just about the general growing hobby / business. So I'd like you to watch it and I'll talk to you after. Keith McGreeny. I don't think we've heard from Keith in a long time. Doesn't feel like it. Would there be any fundamental differences if you were growing indoor versus outdoor with bloom strategies in a pot or versus okay, so indoor, outdoor, pot, ground. So outdoor, pot, ground, indoor, outdoor.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess when I go outside, I get a little bit lazier. Where indoor, I've got such a confined space and spot of root zone and soil, so I treat them so much more with a cautious hand, with way more. I mean, there's days when my outdoor, I literally fill up the bucket at the hose on the side of the house while dumping Herc into it, and then just walk out and pour the whole thing on the pot and walk away.
Well, and you've got a Honda generator versus a nuclear reactor.
Well, that's a Honeywell 35,000 unit, and this was 1,000 watts. So there is, I think, fundamentally, I'm looking at it the same way. Outdoors, I take a way lazier approach. This isn't right or wrong. I find outdoor a lot easier to me because I don't have to. I'm not as worried about 400 gallons of soil as I am 5 gallons. Because at 5 gallons, if my thermostat goes out and my vent fan doesn't turn on for 5 hours, that could be bone dry and I could be cooking.
Yeah.
We're outside. It's like the forecast for the next 10 days say a high of 96. I'm good. You know, and Mother Nature's going to take care of the rest. All I got to do is make sure I hydrate them. Outdoors, I have 4 days between death and dry out, where indoors I have 12 hours from drying out to death. So I mean, the fundamental practices of gardening, I'm way more intense. I think indoor gardening is far more.
It's an investment too.
It really is. You're spending a lot more money.
Yeah.
And I find that indoor, because you're focusing on a different light source, you're very much on a very selected your time frame, because you trigger the flowering response, you end the cycle. So you get to really control the feedings a lot more on the indoor, where outdoor you're like, man, why aren't they showing yet? It's July 30th, it's July 29th. I'm not seeing anything. That's weird. So you don't necessarily follow the same 8 to 10 week flowering cycle because you're trying to figure out when the flowering cycle starts. Yeah. Is it when the hours get less? Is it exactly at 12 and 12 for light cycle outdoors? So it's not, I think the indoor is far more intense as far as paying attention to the small details, where outdoor is way more forgiving in the sense where you can really kind of just I'm only going to water them this week, and they'll get away with it.
Well, you have an expectation that it's not going to be amazing, but it's also going to be pretty good when you're outside. Whereas when you're inside, I'll be damned if I'm going to spend all this time, all this money, and not get.
It has to be better than the dispensary.
Yes.
And that's it. Indoor, you're really. The people that really grow indoors are they want that for their head. They want that for their local community.
Sure.
The guys doing outdoor really like to smoke a lot. They have dialed in a really nice recipe so they get good quality. Yeah. But they're really going for the volume to carry them through the next indoor. Well, that may be assuming, but I would assume that I'm right.
Well, it's a beer and a single malt kind of situation.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Well, exactly.
Yeah.
12% or 4%. Yeah.
So the indoor is where it'd be more precise. What would you be looking at there as kind of a general thing to really be on it with your bloom?
To me, it's those slurries and knowing where the pH. If you dial in pH and ppms throughout the entire bloom cycle, and you can push, to me, it's a lot easier to push an indoor plant than it is an outdoor plant.
Sure.
Because you have such a small. You can correct it a lot faster. You can feed it way more regularly. You can't water and feed a 400-gallon pot every single day, 20 gallons of food.
Yeah, no.
But I can feed a 5-gallon pot a gallon of food every single day and have them come back and be dry and ready for more.
Yeah.
So I think I can push a lot harder indoors than I can outdoors. And I can still push outdoors. there's so many more variables that just take my thought process out of the outdoor. Indoor, I have to think all the time, and outdoor, like I said, I can fill up my bucket. They look happy and healthy all the way to the end, and it's always smokable. But
yeah, it's not gonna be perfect, but it's gonna be pretty good.
I don't share that stuff with my friends so much, but
this is maintenance.
Now there are growers like Rabbit Hill Farm down there in Williams, Oregon. They're outdoor because they use the Roman. They literally come back, and I can't tell. But I mean, I personally, owning the company and laziness, running Roman on an outdoor. I mean, they were doing it on 96 plants, so they're doing that on these 15-foot by 10-foot plants that are super huge, and giving them Roman 3 times a week. And it's like, but their flower comes out like it's, they call it, well, it's light up, I guess. Nah, this is like indoor. So that's one of the very few outdoor plants where I'm like, I'll take this.
It's doable.
It's doable, but to me, it's like I can't imagine feeding 450 gallons times 98 the Roman regimen at mid-bloom.
Well,
3 times a week.
I guess, like when you get the pizzas, and this pizza is 5 of this pizza. Because it's like, when you're growing such a bigger plant, maybe it kind of evens out that you're growing so much more that maybe all that work you put into it kind of evens out a little bit, I guess.
Downfall is the stigma of indoor versus outdoor, so the price tags that very much follow the growth. Putting that much energy, that much time, that much love and money into an outdoor to produce indoor quality outdoor, but still selling it outdoor, that's a losing position. That's what sucks, because they put it in because they really are passionate. They care about the plant. They care about the product. They care about finished goods being top notch, but they get kicked in the dirt when they're sitting there going, so that 3-part farm that did 6,000 plants is going to get the same price tag as this craft cannabis because nobody in that market gives a shit? Interesting.
It's like a Corvette and a Ferrari. You look at the performance, the Corvette is beautiful car that's pretty close to that Ferrari, but it's a third as much because it's a Chevy Corvette. It's not a Ferrari mod. And so it's just the perception. There's nothing you can do about that to overcome that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, what do you think of that? Informative, entertaining, helpful? Let me know in the comments. We'll talk about it. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. The OCG Fam Show. It's pretty good. It happens every day. It's the OCG Fam Show. See you tomorrow.